In this video, I'm going to break down the 3 phases of flows that you need for your e-commerce brand if you want to reduce your cost to acquire a customer, increase your customer lifetime value, and actually build a better brand experience. And when you do this, if you go to sell your brand one day, you'll get a much higher brand valuation. So I'm going to dive into this, and this is done in 3 different phases, and there's a bunch more that you can do. However, if you do this, you have like 80% of it done, okay? And this is what we teach all of our clients, and this is what we're doing for a lot of our clients as well. So it's broken down into 3 different phases. Now, let me just write all this out here, and keep in mind, I'm not no artist, okay? However, I do think by doing it this way, I'll be able to show you some really good examples here. So we have phase 1, 2, and 3. So let's split these up. So phase 1 is your most important, and you can probably guess what these flows are already. If you want, pause, have a guess what they are, okay? So what these flows are is we have the welcome, we have the abandoned checkout, and then we have the customer thank you, okay? So these are the 3 most important flows. And a lot of brands do a lot of things here that is just like not common sense, and they're just losing out on so much money. So let's talk about these individually. So let's start with your welcome. So your welcome doesn't start at the first email. Your welcome starts with your pop-up, okay? So let's see if I can draw a pop-up here. So you probably have some sort of headline, and then you probably have some sort of email opt-in, and then a button, right? Now, what people do wrong is when the pop-up shows up, they're telling people everything about the offer already. You don't want to do that. Now, for some brands, this is different, and you got to split test it, and it really depends on the industry, the audience, the market. It depends on a lot of different things, but the pop-up is like the biggest lever that you can pull to get the biggest ROI. Especially because like at volume, if you have hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people coming to your site every single month, you're going to get a lot of data here. So generally what works best is asking a question first, okay? So not even showing the email box, you're just asking a question. So for example, like, hey, do you want a free gift with your order? Do you want a free mystery gift? Do you want a discount on your order? Something like that, okay? You can also do zero-party data, so you can ask a question and then have feedback. So you can, let's say, for example, if you're in supplements, you can say like, what's your current goal right now? Is it weight loss? Is it build muscle? Is it health and wellness? Okay. Or you can talk about current problems that people have and just ask a question and then have like multiple different buttons for feedback. Okay. So you can do that at the first stage. However, we generally do it on the second stage. So the first stage will be asking a question, and then they're like, hey, do you want like a, let's say for example, hey, do you want a free mystery gift? And then it's like, yes. Okay, there actually wouldn't be an email box here. It would just be yes. And then if they accept that, I'll just go crossways. Then they'll have another pop-up, and it will basically just be like, to claim your free gift, please enter your email below, right? And then obviously there'll be a button there, and then they go to a pop-up confirmation. And we never like show the email discount in here or whatever it is. We want to send them to the email. So this is like, hey, go check out your email. We've just sent details into your inbox. Then you can actually have a button here that will send people to their inbox. So we found that to be really good. And then there's a couple of different ways that you can optimize each step here. You can add a timer if you want. So if they like opt into this one, you can add a timer here. You can also add a timer here and a timer here really. But if you have it on 3 stages, it generally doesn't do as good. So I recommend just like whatever one has the lowest drop off, or yeah, then you can add the timer to that. Okay, generally the second one is really good. You can have like a 30-second timer or something like that. And if you want to get even better results, now we've not tested this on pop-ups, but we've done it with like some upsells and different things in the past, is if you 2x the speed of the timer, people will generally be like, what's going on? And they'll opt in quicker, right? However, you're trying to build brands, probably not the best thing to do. It's more like direct response style. So do that anyways with your pop-up. A couple of other things that you can do then is, you can split test different things then. So like obviously the offer is the main thing, but then you can also test like the size of the pop-up. So like we found that full page is doing really well at the minute. You can also test the different styles. So, if it's on desktop, you can build a desktop one that shows like an image. And you can play around with this as well, right? You can even play around with when the pop-up shows up, how does the background look? Do you want to like black out the background, or do you want to have it like just very transparent? So there's different things that you can do there. But this is where you got to test it. So I always recommend like testing your pop-up as much as possible. Okay, so after that, then let me just remove this. So after that, then after you have your pop-up optimized, you then want to send people to your welcome one. And this is going to be your most delivered email, and this is going to be your most opened, clicked, and probably placed order email. So you want to optimize it. So what does that look like? So let me just draw a quick email box here. So you want to just test this so much. And generally you will do like a nice, beautifully designed email, but what we found to work best is just simple 1, 2, 3 steps. Like, let's say, for example, you're doing the free offer or a discount or whatever it is. It's like step number 1, do this. Step number 2, do this. Step number 3, do this. Or step number 1, add any products to your cart over $50. Step number 2, add this product, the mystery gift or whatever, to your cart. And then step number 3, use this code and complete your order. Okay, like simple, and make it super simple, very clear, and then like make it, very important. Please read, to claim this free product, you need to spend over $50 or whatever it is. Okay, and generally that's all you should be doing in welcome one. Like, people aren't caring about the brand story, any of that stuff. They're not going to read it. They just want to know what the offer is. And then after you send that, I recommend, like, it depends on whatever wait time you want to do, but like 15 minutes after, 20 minutes after, an hour after, 3 hours after, you want to resend that email to people that didn't open. So you can then resend that to people that didn't open. Okay. Now what you can also do is you can also RE this email, and then you can send a plain text email to this email to be like, hey, I noticed you didn't like check this out. So just, it bumps it up because you're replying to this email. All right, so you're doing an RE here, and that does great. And then a lot of brands like don't have many emails in their welcome. They'll have like a couple, right? And a lot of time when we audit different brands, they're going with like, the whole story of the brand and all that sort of stuff, right? And I get it, and I get it for some brands. However, like, what you want to have in your welcome is you want to have campaigns that are going to turn people from a non-buyer into a buyer. So go back and have a look at your campaigns. Now, if you're just sending campaigns to everyone, it's, you can probably just go off your best performing campaigns. But ideally, you want to pull the data on what campaigns have converted the most non-buyers into buyers, or if you just have campaigns sent specifically to non-buyers, whatever the best ones are, you want to add those campaigns in here. Okay, so let me just draw a couple of more of these. Let me see if I can draw a perfect one, and then I can clone it out. So I've actually had this Remarkable for years, and I've never really used it for anything like this. So let's get creative here. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'm just going to keep cloning stuff out here and it's just going to waste time. But you want to have these campaigns, and like I said, you can just take your best performing non-buyer campaigns and add them in here, and you want to test them. Now there's going to be a massive drop off around here. Like, you're going to see like 80% of people are going to drop off here because they've placed order, right? Also, if anyone gets as far as the checkout, you want to pull them out of this flow. So you're going to see these numbers drop off massively. Now, we used to do discounts in the back half of these emails to try and get people to convert. But like, at the end of the day, what we're generally doing now is just like pushing in these best non-buyer campaigns. And sometimes this can be like FAQ campaigns. This can be different campaigns around education or whatever it is. And sometimes we might do the whole founder story thing, but generally we don't, right? So that's your welcome. And there's a couple of other things I can talk about there, but if you get this done, if you have a good pop-up, you A/B test the pop-up a lot, you A/B test this first email, and then you resend that email to non-openers, or you do an RE, it's generally going to do pretty good. And all of these emails are like, they all want to follow back up to this main email, to the main offer. So have your section or have your copy that's like step 1, step 2, step 3, and make sure it's in every single one of these emails, because we want to make it super simple for the customer. Right. Next is your abandoned checkout. So let me get advanced here. Oh, what? Let me delete this. Anyways. Okay, so with the abandoned checkout then, one thing I haven't really talked about is like text emails versus design emails. And this really comes down to the brand and the preference of the owner, right? Like some clients were sending 90% text emails, some clients were sending 90% design emails, some clients 50-50, right? It really depends, but generally you will find one will do better than the other. So with your abandoned checkout, like one of the biggest problems I see is the time delays. So let's say these circles here are time delays. You'll see brands that will do like 2 days, 3 days, 1 day. Like that's not good enough. When people are coming to your site, they're coming to purchase your product. Like if they don't purchase like within the first day, there's a high chance that they're going to get remarketed on Facebook by some other brand and they're potentially never going to buy your product. They'll go somewhere else because then Facebook knows they're interested in that and they're going to feed them more and more of your competitors to go and buy it. So we always want to push aggressive, right? So generally what it will look like for us is like, and we test this for different brands, and there's also some brands that we work with that don't want us to push as aggressive. We completely get it, right? Like let's say if you're trying to build more of a luxury brand, obviously you're not going to be, hammering emails. However, if you don't mind doing a bit more direct response, you can push harder here. So you got to test it, but I always say the more aggressive, the better. So if you can wait like 10 minutes, send, or like here 10 minutes, send your first email, then maybe wait like 20 minutes, you can send another one. And then you can do like, if you want 2 hours then, or 3 hours rather than 2 or 3 days. Because you want to have like at least 4 emails being sent within the first 24 hours. And another thing that you can do here that a lot of brands don't do is you can go off times. So like here, you can have this to be like, let's say 7 a.m. and then you can have this to be like 11 a.m. So you don't have to do wait times because sometimes people are going to go through, different buying cycles or like what time they're kind of going to buy at. And if you just do wait times, they could be getting these emails at like 3 or 4 in the morning. So generally we'll have at least one of them that resets it to a time frame, to a time, and then you can do like hours after that because you're able to work it out, okay? You can also do different weekend stuff and whatever, but generally for the abandoned checkout, we don't do that. And then, so that's the structure. And like, how many emails do you want to do? You want to keep going until they're no longer bringing in any money, right? Like literally, some brands will have these really long, other brands not as much, but you want to have them quite long. And then one of the main ways to just increase the amount of money that you make from your abandoned checkout is just to like sit down and ask yourself, what are the biggest objections for people to purchase this product, right? Now, if you have multiple different products, multiple different collections or different AOVs, you can obviously split up your abandoned checkouts where based on their AOV, they'll get sent over here versus over here, or based on the collection, they get sent here. So we do this from some brands as well, mainly around collections. Yeah, mainly around collections. Like you can do it around AOV, but only if it's like really high, if there's a really big difference. Or you can obviously do first and second time as well. So you can split up your abandoned checkout in loads of different ways. But let's just make this simple for now. So you want to overcome your biggest objections. So let's say, for example, it's clothing. Like this is an absolute hack. If you have a clothing brand or any sort of clothing, if you add in your size guides and your size charts into every single abandoned checkout email, you'll see the numbers go way up. You'll get way more people buying, a way higher click rate. Same as if you make the return policy very clear and easy to understand. Like that's probably the biggest objection in clothing. Will it fit me? What does the return policy look like? Okay. Let's say if it's supplements, people might be, they might be skeptical. Oh, is this like, what's going on with this? Like, is this like just a bit of a scam or whatever it is? So you want to like show the reviews, like real legit reviews. The FTC also came out now that like fake reviews is like, you can like really get in trouble for it now. So you want to do reviews, tell stories as well. Like stories is absolutely amazing. And a lot of people just don't tell stories or don't know how to tell stories in emails. They can be some of the best performing emails. And then, share the transformations as well. So actually show like the before and after, okay? But just overcome the objections. Like the other day we were on an onboarding call and I asked a client like, hey, what's your biggest objection? They're like, price. I'm like, okay, how are we handling this on their landing page? Like, how are we overcoming this? And they're like, oh, we're not. And we're like, okay, well, what would you say to, if someone said to you, price, how would you overcome that? And then they like gave me this amazing breakdown. I'm like, okay, that's great. That's going to be, that's going to be our first 3 abandoned checkout emails. So that's what you want to do. And this is just testing. And then like we generally do 2 offers in here. Now it depends on your brand. So you can have like, one offer maybe around here. So this would be like offer 1. And then around here, maybe you can introduce another offer, right? Because there's certain people that are just like not going to buy without a discount. And certain brands obviously don't do discounts. And I get that. We have a lot of clients that are like that. However, like, buying behaviors of customers is changing, and people know that they're gonna get hit with emails with discounts, right? So they'll wait and they'll buy. Okay, we want to be testing these offers, and this comes back to the welcome as well. And the pop-up is like, it's all about your economics. Like with a pop-up, for example, if you give away 10% and your AOV is $100, that discount is costing you $10 per order, compared to if you gave away a free product that the cost of goods landed is like $2 or $1, and you're saving $8 for every single order for someone that goes through the pop-up. Like the economics on that are just like, there's a massive difference, right? If you're doing 10,000 orders a month, at the end of the year, over 100,000 orders through that, it's a massive amount of money that you get to keep, and on your bottom line, your profits is absolutely huge. And it's the same with your abandoned checkout. Just because you do a bigger discount doesn't mean there's going to be a higher take rate on it. We done a test before where we done like a 10% off versus 20% off, and like, yeah, you'd be very, very surprised on how offers work and how take rates work. Now you have to have a big audience to kind of test this stuff, but I wouldn't just have one offer there and let it sit there. And if you have an AOV of over 100, generally you might be best off doing a dollar amount off, or like a certain amount off, like a $10 or $20 off versus a percentage, because people can like actually relate to it. However, if you do like a $5 off on like a lower AOV, you're giving away way too much, right? So that's that. And you can also add conditions to all of this as well, where you have to spend over X amount to do this, right? And then your customer thank you. So we split this up in a couple of different ways. So generally we'll have like first time and second time, and then we will send multiple different emails then. Now, one thing here is like your wait times are all gonna be different based on your shipping times, okay? But generally we want to just give them a lot of information, like thank them for their order, give them information on their order, and then do like tips and tricks. So like the goal here is to make sure that they consume their product. So if it's a consumable, we do like habit or like supplement reminders, or like reminders to buy or to use your product, or to buy multiple, so you can have one in different parts of your house, or like in your car, or whatever it is, depending on the product, right? Then we like to do a funny email, so like do some sort of humor there, tell a story, and then have like a soft CTA to get people to come back. And then we'll push different platforms, then we'll push reviews and stuff like that. Now this varies from brand to brand and product to product, and sometimes we'll split this up based on different collections, but you really want to focus on your customer thank you flow. Like I personally think it's the most important flow, because you only get one chance to make a good first impression, so you may as well just really over deliver on this and educate people, and make things super, super clear on the product that they're about to buy, right? So that is phase 1. And this is linear. Like I said, you can build all of these out, and you can add splits and conditions to all of these different flows, right? So this is phase 1. So let me come in here and let's take this off. Let's see if we can change this. All right, so that's phase 1. Tick. Okay, amazing. I've never used the colors. So let's come back here. Right, then phase 2. Then we have for phase 2, we have, first one is we have our browse abandonment. So we'll call this our BA. And then we have our PPU, which is our post-purchase upsell. And then we have our abandoned cart, right? So there's different browse triggers. You have people that like browse product or like a site abandonment. So just keep that in mind. However, we generally do like a browse product here. So this is pretty simple. Once again, you can split this up based on collection if you have a lot of different SKUs. You don't have to. But generally here, like what we like to do is just like push a lot of social proof stuff here and just push that like a lot of other people are buying what they're checking out, you know what I mean? And that like, push some scarcity and urgency here as well. And most of the time, like the drop off here, like you can only have a few emails here. Like you don't need to push as aggressive as like these other flows here, like the abandoned checkout and stuff like that. So your browse abandonment, like that's what we generally add in there. We do different style of emails. We have this search email that we do. And like I said, we split it up in some different ways, and generally it depends on the brand, but generally we will throw like an offer in here. And the main thing of this offer, and this is a good one to do, is like this offer here, you can make this a secret offer, so you don't tell them what the discount is, so then you get higher click-through rates because they're curious. And then if they go as far as here, or if they go as far as here, then they're going to get triggered into those flows, which is the goal, because then they get hit with the offers there. So we'll do like, hey, we've just given you like a secret discount to reveal the amount at checkout. Okay, so then they have to go as far as checkout to see what it is, and then they get triggered, right? And it's generally a smaller discount, right? So that's a browse abandonment. Like there's not much extra really there. Like if you have a big list, this is going to trigger way more, right? Also, kind of a bonus, let me just add it here, is do you like use AI triggers? So like we use Black Crow a lot. Use blackcrow.ai. There's some other ones like Upstacked. You can use, there's loads of them. We actually have a list, but we've actually found Black Crow to be really good. I really like their team as well. They integrate in Slack and they chat in Slack and everything like that. But basically what this going to do is Black Crow is just going to help trigger a lot more flows. So they show your pop-up again. That will then trigger your welcome flow again. They will trigger your abandoned checkout for a lot of people that Klaviyo can't keep the data on. So they just like trigger way more, and it does great. Like for one client, I think they've done about 30 grand this year just from Black Crow flows, like 30K extra. And their revenue this year is about, I think they've done about 600K or something like that. So an extra 30K is like still a big chunk, right? Just from one app. So pretty powerful stuff. Now, obviously you have to have all your flows built out before you can do this, but then they duplicate all of your flows and have Black Crow flows for it, okay? So then your post-purchase upsell flow, this next one, like logistically, some brands find it hard for this to work, but if you can crack this, it does really good. So generally you will have 2 emails here, and this depends on conditions, but this is just after someone orders. It's basically like, hey, let's say for example, like the supplements example is just so easy. Let's say for example, you purchased like a pre-workout or something like that, right? So it's like, hey, we noticed you purchased a pre-workout. Just to let you know, over like 70% of people also purchased the creatine because of X, Y, and Z, or also purchased the hydration sachets because of X, Y, and Z. Come back here and add this to your order for like 20% off, right? And it's like order in the next 2 hours, and your order will be combined with your original order, so you don't have to pay for shipping. So you can get like apps like Mergify on Shopify to do this for you. There's other ones that you can do. If some of your fulfillment centers, if you use the likes of ShipBob, they'll actually automatically do this for you. You just need to change the processing time on ShipBob, and then they'll actually automatically merge orders. They have a setting for it. ShipBob are probably the best, but there's other ones out there. Just ask them to do this. I know some clients can't get this done, but it is very, very possible because we have a lot of clients that do it. And then if you sell any sort of digital products, then you can then push, and then you can have a couple of more emails pushing some digital products. However, like not many of our clients do, only a couple. So we will just like, push different offers in here. Some people will push like different insurance stuff here as well. It really depends on your brand. Now keep this in mind, for this to work, if you want this to work really, really, really good, ideally you have post-purchase upsells after checkout. So generally a lot more like direct response brands, or like people that are push heavy in e-commerce do this. Like if you're trying to build a brand, like not many brands are really doing this, which I don't get, because if you want to increase your AOV, like upsells are like the number one thing, and customers like getting good offers. So yeah, I always recommend doing post-purchase upsells, like one-click upsells, and having like at least 3 upsells, and then having downsells for each one of those as well. Like you'll just make way more money, like way more money. And then you have this will then this will follow up to that, right? And generally, let's say if you have subscription, you can be like, hey, we noticed you didn't take the subscription, like click here or come back to get the subscription. And then this one, like if they did get subscription, is trying to get them to buy more. And you can split it up, right? But this takes testing as well. And generally text emails work better here. Okay, next is your abandoned cart. So I'll get through this a bit quicker. Like your abandoned cart is pretty simple. It's very similar to the abandoned checkout. They're just at like a earlier stage. So, you know, the goal is just to get them as far as that checkout. So okay, you can just send different campaigns here or different, you know, text emails or graphic ones, just pushing people to come back and buy again. So you can try some different like scarcity or urgency stuff here, and that stock sells out fast, they won't be back for a while. And you can also do more of the like handle the objections, whatever, but it doesn't do as good here because they're not as bought in. However, if you've got a big list, this can actually, for some of our clients, the abandoned checkout will perform better than the abandoned cart because it triggers way more, right? Because they can just add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. And another thing to mention as well, you need to make sure that you have all your filters set up properly. So like, I don't even know what the icon is for the filters. Is it something like this? But you want to make sure that, you know, you have people filtered. So if they're in this flow, they can't come back for a certain amount of time, or if they get pulled into like the abandoned checkout, they get then pulled out of this flow and then they go over here. Okay, that's really, really important. So that's phase 2, and like there's more stuff I could talk about here. I'm just kind of giving a high level overview. Once again, you can split this up based on, you know, their cart value or whatever it is. But for if you're not doing much money, like if you're only doing like 100K a month or whatever, like it's not worth really doing this. Like if you're doing 7 figures a month, then a lot of this stuff is going to be way more worth it. But generally, like the difference you're going to make is like not that much, so it's probably not that worth it. So that's phase 2. And then phase 3 is all retention stuff. So we have our win back, and then we have our cross sell, and then we have our VIP. Right? So for your win back, right, let me see if I can do this again and take these emails. Boom. Okay, that's good enough for me. Let me just fix these. God bless technology. Okay, so for your win back, the most important thing for your win back is your time delay. So when are you sending this, okay? So you should have a look at your data. If you have Triple Whale or tracking software like that, generally they track it the best, where they'll tell you the time between first and second purchase, second and third purchase, or third and fourth, or whatever it is, right? And it will also tell you the AOV of the orders, the people that come back and stuff like that. So you can split this up, but let's just say to make this simple, you're doing this between first and second purchase. Now let's say Triple Whale tells you that that's 45 days, or let's just say 47 days. Then you want to make sure that you're pushing this out after 47 days, even before maybe like 45 days, because then we can send a couple of emails before they actually do purchase, right? Now, you also then want to have a look at, okay, if they come back after 47 days, what products do they then come back and buy? Are they purchasing more of the same? Are they purchasing something else? Is there a common trend in what they're doing? So you want to have a look at the data, because if we can push products in front of people that is proven to, you know, convert better, then we want to make sure that those products are in these emails. Now, if you have a lot of different SKUs, you can do this, like you can build a Klaviyo feed and you can have it, or you can just obviously build the emails, right? And what's worked good for us in the past, and I actually got this from I can't think of his name now, from Zipify. Yeah, anyways, I can't think of his name. But if you do you can do a delivered win back, but also just doing a win back and having like a themed win back where you have like every single email to look the same. Ezra Firestone. So he done like a Black Friday delivered win back that he talked about before. Now we started to implement that and it crushed it. And it was like a teamed out flow where all of the emails look very similar. They're following the same template. We're just hammering them with an offer. And we basically do like 2 or 3 emails a day over over like a 3-day period, and you're pushing this one offer. So let's say, for example, one that does good if it works into your margins is like 24% off for 24 hours, because the messaging is just really simple. Now, you don't have to do that, it's a big offer. You can also just do like a 15% off or whatever it is, and you can just push aggressive. And like these first few emails are like intro on the offer, and then these last few are like, it's all about a deadline. And there's other things you can do here. There's like a strategy that we use here that absolutely just prints money. But yeah, maybe I'll share it on another video, but it's something I've seen no one else do, and it's like the number one thing that makes this work. Anyways, so that's your win back, and like I said, it's just important to go off data here and to really like push this offer, okay? And this ranges from brand to brand. Some brands don't want to push as aggressive here. Other brands want to keep it simple. Other brands want to control what they buy next, whatever it is, right? Then we have the cross-sell flow. Same again, we want to make sure we go off the data here. So like, what's the data? What do they come back and buy again? And then after the win back, if they do, or even if they don't take it, we then want to try and cross-sell them to something else. So if they purchased the pre-workout, now we want to give them the protein, right? Just simple. And we want to address, generally it works better if it's more custom, and we address the fact that, hey, you purchased this, now you want to get this next, rather than having more general ones, right? Sorry, one thing I didn't do, I never ticked off my phase 2. Let me pull it up here. Green, let's do a big tick. Boom. Right. Okay, so that's your cross sell. Like, I'm not gonna get like too into this, because the cross sell is more simple. You're just cross selling the product, right? Yeah, like there's a couple of things that we do here, but I just say just keep it simple and just like go off the data. Like the data is the most important one. And then your VIP flow, then there's 2 ways that you can trigger this, right? The first way is based on how much they spend, and then the second one is based on how many orders, right? So if they've purchased like 5 plus. Because for some brands, like if your AOV is low, if they order 5 times, like they're not really worth that much compared to like, we done this with a client yesterday. It's going through our hybrid model. We were running this, and we were looking at, how much money people have spent with their brand, and we were like, oh, there's like over $1,000. I was like, there's probably like a couple there, right? And there was like thousands. I was like, what? And then like we kept on going up and how much people spent, and like some customers have spent like over 3K with them, and their AOV is super, super low. And it was so interesting to see that people have spent this like thousands and thousands with this brand. So we were like, damn. So then we built out that VIP flow then, where that was like if they spent over like $500, then we triggered that flow, right? So, and what you can do here is like you can have your VIP. This can be like an intro. So this can be an intro. This can then be the offer. And then you can do like quarterly emails. So let's just say our time delay here is 90 days and then another 90 days. And you can do like quarterly emails here, just pushing different offers. So this can be a percentage, this can be a BOGO, this can be anything really. But then you're just, every time you're opening this email, you're letting them know like, hey, you're a VIP, right? Like, hey, you're a VIP. And this is just constantly reminding them that they're a VIP, and to come back and like, they're getting an offer that no one else is getting. And this can even be just as much as free shipping, or it can be like they get a free product, or it can be they get a flat amount off, right? Even with conditions. So that is that. So that is, let me tick that off. So that is phase 3. And then we also have like phase 4 and 5, and then we have some extras. So, phase 4 will be more around your like, it depends on the brand as well, like replenish. You also have your sunset flow in there. And then there's extra ones that you can do, and this will depend on your brand. Phase 4 as well, I'm pretty sure we have the birthday flow in there. And then some of the extra ones can be like, a quiz flow or abandoned click. If you're pushing a lot of volume, you can do that there. Sorry, my dog's barking. Yeah, so the abandoned click will work really good if you have a lot of volume, but you just want to like look at your brand and figure out like, what does the customer journey look like, and where can you plug in different flows? Where's the drop-off points? What data do you have on customers? So that's really it. And there's a lot of other flows that we do, but this is kind of like the most important stuff. If you can do this, if you can dial this in, then you will just, you absolutely crush it. And then like some common questions that we get is like, what about A/B testing? So I generally just recommend like A/B testing the first few emails of like here, you can A/B test these. Same as like, let me pick a different color here. So you can A/B test these because these are like very, very delivered emails. Same as like you can test this one. You want to test both of these. You want to test, this isn't as high ROI, these abandoned checkout ones. Your win back, it's important to test these. VIP, not as much unless you're pushing big volume. Cross sell, like you generally just want to test offers here rather than like email style or whatever. But like your highest ROI is going to be like A/B testing all of these flows, like your welcome 1, your abandoned checkout 1, 2, and 3. And I guess your customer thank you is actually irrelevant. You don't want to really test customer thank you. There's not much ROI there. I guess on the first email, it's a very open to email, so you can test that one and see how it goes. But yeah, that's really it. But any questions on this, comment below. This is my first time doing a video like this with this remarkable style. And if you do want our agency Email for Brands to set all of this up for you, this is what we're currently doing right now. We have a hybrid offer where we set all of this up for you, completely done for you. Our team does all the copy, we do all the design, we do all the strategy, we do everything. We send it over to you in Figma. Once you're happy with it, then we then go and add it to Klaviyo, and we do one phase per month. It's a 12-week program. We also give you the tools and templates that you need so you can then do it yourself. And this is just flows, but we also go into campaigns as well. And this is the new way that we're going to be working with clients, because they don't have to pay high agency retainers every single month. So you can save, like let's say for example, if you're paying 60K a year on email, and some of our clients are happily paying 60K a year on email because they're making so much bloody money, they don't care about it. However, if you're struggling with profitability or you want to take it in-house, then this model could be for you, okay? Or some people like to just get this all set up, understand it all, and then they can still work with us on an agency basis, but they just want to understand it themselves, so they're able to, just able to have an understanding of how it all works, being the founder, being the one in control, okay? But if you like this, comment below, and if you want me to do more remarkable videos like this, please do. Let me know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.